he can just mark everybody else. Pink jersey Bob Jungels now 52 seconds as it stands, with just less than 6 kilometers to go and approaching the hardest section of this climb as Quintana again gets out on the pedals and looks to push on. It's one of these three who are going into the Maglia Rosa. And they're all at the same time as Quintana again makes a dart forward. This time Pinot isn't the man to close it himself, and Quintana could be opening up distance now. Quintana doing his best to use the TV motorbike to get away. Nibali showing he's not panicking whatsoever so far.
No, Nibali looking good here, just continuing and concentrating and just pedaling away there. A very good cadence from Nibali. We can see in the saddle, that is a good sign. We can see Thibaut Pinot in and out of the saddle a lot, but some riders like to get out of the saddle for a little bit, others just like to sit there. We can see Nibali back to the wheel of Quintana again, and Quintana did try a big one there. He pushed in, he pushed a big acceleration there, but Nibali just coming back at his pace.
Vincenzo Nibali, his philosophy for this Giro: race at my best, then it will be the road to decide. At the minute, the road has decided that Nibali, Quintana and Pinot are the top, and we're being treated to a real show here with 5.5 kilometers to go. There's Tom Dumoulin, second chasing group at 20 seconds. Bauke Mollema's still with him. Well, some people were talking about 30 seconds. The gaps might be much bigger today. This is a hard climb. This is a beast of a climb. This on your screen now is Adam Yates. No time yet back to this group. Adam Yates, who's racing at the minute with Patrick Conrad here. 10 seconds off the lead of Bob Jungels at the start of the day. And Philip Dygnan's giving his all for Geraint Thomas. Well, Geraint Thomas, we expected in our heart of hearts, I think, to lose a little bit of time today, but certainly not be taken out in the way he was by the police motorbike. 2 minutes and 35, and of course Thomas not the only one affected. A lot of these guys lost their helpers, let's not forget too. As Sean Kelly said, that crash went right across the road. Now 14 seconds. Gap closing behind.
Yes, we can see Tom Dumoulin there just setting the pace. Pozzovivo also there. Mollema just hanging in there. We had Amador there just a moment ago. He seemed to have lost a little bit of ground.
Quintana's made another dig. Upteeth dig already by Nairo Quintana. Oh, you wondered if he'd come into this undercooked. I don't think he has at all. That test in Asturias last week, he won a stage, didn't manage to take the overall, but my, oh my, is he looking strong on Blockhaus. Quintana in the Navy. Just behind him, Nibali, the reigning champion, in the red. Thibaut Pinot also looking $1 million behind. 3 riders in their prime. Bob Jungels now over a minute back in the pink jersey. He will lose the race lead of the Giro d'Italia today, the man from Luxembourg. TJ Van Garderen, another man who's been spat out. Have to say, probably not unexpected. Pinot on the left-hand side, and we're approaching the most difficult part of the climb. There's a brief resting period here, but then it kicks up violently in about 300 meters to 14%, Sean, the big test.
Yes, and that's where Quintana will try it again, and Quintana, that's the way he rides, a little lightweight climber, just to keep on throwing these punches here, try and put Nibali in difficulty, but Nibali has reacted very well, and he looks to be quite comfortable there. He looked around when he was on the wheel of Quintana, looked at Thibaut Pinot, and he's just, marking them. He's not riding himself at all for the moment, but it's going to be an interesting final with the 3. But will they be able to hold off? We can see the others, Tom Dumoulin, Mollema, Pozzovivo there, 15 seconds at the moment. If they keep on riding out front, difficult to see them being pulled back.
Oh, it's getting worse for TJ Van Garderen. He is now roughly 1.5 minutes behind those at the front. Dropped from the Bob Jungels group. We're approaching the hardest part. This is the hardest section of the climb. 14 seconds. Tell you what, Dumoulin, Mollema and Pozzovivo are riding a good race as Quintana again goes. Quintana off on the steeper slopes, and this is what he must have been thinking about last night. This was the plan. Quintana to attack on the 14% gradient. This time nobody's with him. A look around to survey the damage, and Nairo Quintana's on his own. Nibali it is. Same tactic to try and close the gap. Remember, bigger cadence, different gears today. Different approach from Vincenzo Nibali. The minute, Sean, it's working.
Yes, well, it's working, but you can put what gear you like on the bike today. If you haven't got the form, it's not going to get you there. It's just all about, the physical fitness you've got, the power you've got, and Nibali, looking good at the moment. We can see Quintana looks around, puts in another bit of an acceleration, but Nibali just keeps on working away. Has he got enough to get back to Quintana? A little more will tell.
Vincenzo Nibali riding 38-30 gear ratio today. It's the first time he's done it as Quintana, well, doesn't matter what he's riding away from them. And this is Nairo Quintana, the winner of the 2014 Giro d'Italia, making his mark on the 100th edition 3 years later. Quintana has made the gap. Now he has to consolidate. Remember Thibaut Pinot behind, really breaking with recent tradition for French riders, coming to the Giro and giving it a good go. Everybody's still in the game at the minute, but it's going to be down to Pinot to try and close the gap as Nibali is showing his first sign of weakness. And it's this hairpin, I remember, being the big problem. Well, in the last 2 or 3 kilometres, things get a little easier. For now, though, they're still on the hellish gradient. 8.8% average all the way up. There is Thibaut Pinot. Looks around, looks behind. Nibali fights away for Bahrain Merida. 8 seconds then for Quintana. On Nairo Quintana putting on a show. And again, there's all this mystery that surrounds him when he goes and trains in Colombia. There's all this mystery because he doesn't often race. He comes over for blocks, shows his strength. He showed his strength at Tirreno Adriatico. He went back to Colombia. And he only rode the Vuelta a Asturias before the Giro d'Italia. He's attempted to do the double here. Contador tried that a couple of years ago. Managed to win the Giro, failed at the Tour. But Quintana's going about the first objective correctly right here. In the meantime, to the pink jersey, Bob Youngles, 1 minute and 52 now. Geraint Thomas closing, though.
Yes.
2 minutes and 2. This is a good recovery.
That is a good ride because it's all happening up front. They certainly haven't, slowed down at all in that leading group of big favourites. It's been just, attack after attack, and 2:12. It's a great performance, and still just another 4 kilometres to go. If you can keep on working at it, well, then he's not out of the race totally.
It's the Eagle of the Andes with 3.6 kilometres to go, and Thibaut Pinot might be allowed to leave Vincenzo Nibali behind. Attack from Thibaut Pinot. Nibali struggling to close the gap. Oh, and he might just be cracking here, the shot. I'll tell you what, he's not letting go, though. Works hard. Head down, suffering. He can hear the scream of the crowd alongside him. Quintana pulling 19 seconds out now. And Geraint Thomas closing his way to Bob Youngles at the back. No time check for Adam Yates, unfortunately. Riders all over the road. And Quintana's not had a gears yet. That's the worrying thing. Wow. This is something very special we're witnessing here.
Well, it's something that we've seen a number of times with Quintana. When he gets the terrain, as we're getting today, the real steep gradient, that's where he is so dangerous. And, he's a pure climber, a lightweight one, and he's just working away at it. And we can see, well,
in the meantime, pardon me, Nibali now is being brought back by Dumoulin and Mollema.
So they're coming up also, and we can see there that Pinot is working quite well, and the final 2 kilometres is going to be interesting because it does ease out a bit, and that's going to be maybe advantage to some of the better ones like Pinot, who can finish a bit stronger. But when you look at Quintana, he looks impressive at this moment.
20 seconds, 19 seconds for Pinot. Not too many of these big, steep, plus 10% gradients left now for Quintana. It does get a little lighter in the last 2.5 kilometres. It goes down to 7.8%, then 6.6, 2.4 before that short rise to the line at 8.7 for the final few hundred metres. And as Sean mentioned, Pino's got a good sprint. Oh, Nibali. Nibali really has cracked. Well, the Dutch are doing a good job. Both Dumoulin and Mollema alongside him. Mollema, remember, has done a recon of this climb. Quintana has also seen it too. Again, facial expressions don't give too much away where Quintana's concerned. He doesn't change too much. Now that Thibaut Pinot is losing the odd second again. Big moments. And that's the problem. If you go into the red, Sean, to close a gap, it can take that bit much more longer to recover, can't it?
Well, yes, and it depends on, what stage you're in. A little bit further down there, if you're close to being in the red, well then it's difficult to get out of that. And we can see Pinot, he just run away from Nibali, but we see why, because Nibali seems to be weakening a bit. He's being caught by the two Dutch riders, and they have also dropped him now, so he's the one who is weakening, and we can see 26 seconds for Pinot up to Quintana, so he's pulling out second by second.
Quintana is getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And listen to the encouragement. Lots and lots of messages on the side of the road, and Pinot's about to be caught. Now this is interesting. What a ride from the Dutch riders. Tom Dumoulin, we were assured he'd lost a lot of weight this year. He's climbing better than he's ever done before.
Yes, well, he's done a real good performance. Both of them here, they have worked well together as well. They just, share the pace setting, and, they were dropped very earlier on in the climb, but they just, kept their cool, worked at it, kept working away, and it's paying off here, because now they take back Pinot here, so 29 seconds, and we know Tom Dumoulin in the time trials, he is a real specialist.
A big specialist, of course. Remember, he won stages at both the Giro and the Tour de France last year, two of them in the Tour, and then he took silver at the time trial in the Olympic Games. Pinot is still going. They're sitting on him at the minute, with Mollema looking good as well. Mollema was so good in the Tour de France until that very late crack. It's two Dutchmen and a Frenchman. 30 seconds of a gap behind this man. The man we were all waiting for today. The man who has turned up and not disappointed. Nairo Quintana. Second group on the road. And Pinot finds some extra strength to go again, as Mollema just looks like he's starting to struggle. Pinot can go again. Well, such a big effort from the two Dutch drivers. It's amazing, isn't it, on these horrible climbs. You can feel fine 1 minute, then you're in crisis, then you feel a little bit better, then you feel good. It changes all the time, doesn't it?
Well, yes, you go through a lot of different sections, and you can be good at the earlier part of the climb. But here, I think we can see Thibaut Pinot, he just upped his gear a little bit and just, made an attack as such. And the two other riders are just after catching up to them. They're not able to do it, or maybe they just want to keep going at the same pace. They have been doing that, so possibly that they're just walking away at the same pace, and they will just come back to Pinot a bit further on here, and we can see that's what's happening.
Would that be riding the power, maybe, on power meters?
Yes, very possible riding the power meters, of course, and it's the best way. If you're not a pure climber, that explosive stuff and that sudden acceleration on a climb, you cannot do that. And Tom Dumoulin, of course, he's a big guy, and that's the best way to climb, and you can keep a good rhythm, you can keep it going. Where Pinot, he's the style of rider where he's a more punchier one.
Nairo Quintana with 25 seconds on Thibaut Pinot at the moment. Dumoulin and Mollema try to stay with the Frenchman, and Pinot is gaining. Now this is where the gradient starts to get a little less severe, isn't it? And this is where Pinot, if he gets into a rhythm, could get the odd second back.
Well, I think they're back together again. We can see there's one of the riders, Tom Dumoulin, has actually had them making back to the wheel of Pinot. Mollema just a little bit further off here, and as I said, inside the final 2 kilometres, that's where it eases off. 24 seconds at the moment. It'll be interesting to see, can they pull back any seconds at all on Quintana?
Any chance they can work together, or is it too late now, they're too tired?
Well, I think they have been working together, they've been sharing, and at this point, when it gets a bit easier, the gradient is not as much. If you have somebody who take it up for 50 metres, 60 metres, it means a lot, and I think the clock will tell the time. 24 seconds still for the man out in front, Nairo Quintana.
Quintana up there. This is Vincenzo Nibali from the air. No time gaps back to Nibali and company just yet. Disappears into the forest. Nibali was looking so good until Pinot managed to crack him. 27 seconds, 28 gains again for Nairo Quintana. Neutral service with him in case of any incident. And the road surface does get a little bit better up here. Not too much, there's still the odd little bit of tar that's filled in a pothole. And there's Vincenzo Nibali. Look up the road, see if we can see anybody else. Nobody envisioned just yet. Inside the final 1.2 kilometres here, Nairo Quintana on Blockhaus. 50 years since Eddie Merckx showed himself as a GC contender for the first time. It was with victory here that he picked up the first of his 11 Grand Tour wins. Behind Nairo Quintana, another man looking to make himself into a legend of the sport. Already a victor of the Giro, already a winner of the Vuelta España, is looking for pink jersey number 2. At the minute, it looks like he's going to take the pink jersey at least into the rest day. Approaching the final kilometre, and Quintana, Sean, he's done the damage. He has to ride it home now.
Yes, well, he's done the damage, and what damage he's done, that the first attack 7+ kilometres out, and just blew the group of big favourites apart, and just put in attack after attack to put everybody in difficulty. And 28 seconds of an advantage at the moment, just inside the kilometre to go. He's going to hold on. By how much is the question?
By how much indeed. 28 seconds. Proper gap when they come through the Flamme Rouge here. Mollema unable to keep pace, by the way. He'd been struggling a few hundred metres back. It's now down to Thibaut Pinot in the white and blue at the back. Dumoulin in the white and black just in front, chasing on. Pinot the Frenchman, Dumoulin the Dutchman, 2 young riders, as it's the star Nairo Quintana reaching stage race maturity here 3 years ago, looking for Giro number 2. It's a long way to go to Milan yet. There are time trials and more mountain days, but this is a firm grab of the Maglia Rosa by the man from Movistar. 600 metres for Quintana. We're up to snow level now. Lots of people have made it up here to Blockhaus. A ski resort in the winter, a cycling theatre here on the 50th anniversary of its first use. And here's Nibali approaching the final kilometre. He's at 56 seconds. Damage limitation time for Nibali then in the last kilometre.
Yes, well, it's certainly damage limitation, and 57 seconds, it is a lot, but still, he's very much in there, as you said, Rob. It's a long way to Milan.
Time trials, silly stages, funny finishes, you never know what might happen. The Giro is on. It started. Nairo Quintana's first to set the first fireworks off, and he's about to turn the final corner now towards a little ascent to a Giro stage win. Almost does it. Needs to correct himself as he goes round the corner. Makes it. There is Quintana. 3¼ hours of racing. It was Movistar 24 hours ago yesterday. It is a win and a pink jersey for Nairo Quintana. Tappa e maglia, as they see in these parts. And 50 years ago, from Merckx's victory in 2017, it's Quintana, the king of the Giro so far, who lights it up to take the stage and the jersey. The count back to the rest now begins, but the first bit of congratulations goes to Nairo Quintana. 10 bonus seconds too for the man from Colombia. 6 on the line here for second place. It's the man with the better sprint, Pinot, who's going out to try and take it. Pinot up there trying to close the gap. It's going to be a good recovery from these two. There is Pinot, and he's going to limit the damage to 24 seconds. Pinot to take 6 bonus seconds as well. Dumoulin finishing third, and here is Bauke Mollema. Bauke Mollema of Trek Segafredo also showing that he is here and ready to fight for the podium at this Giro d'Italia. 42 seconds back, and the reigning champion, Italy, still without a win. But it is a standing ovation for Vincenzo Nibali. And it's going to be around a minute. 59 as he comes across the line. Domenico Pozzovivo, we wonder whether it'd be his day today. He was put out of the game by Nairo Quintana too. And Domenico Pozzovivo finishing in 6th position. And it has been that brutal. It's going to be like this, rider after rider after rider over the line. This is Tano Kanga, man who had been expected to support Michele Scarponi at this Giro d'Italia before Scarponi's untimely death a couple of weeks ago. But Tano Kanga, the Estonian, part of that winning team for Nibali last year, is up there. Ilno Zakarin, looking good before today. Needs to watch this final corner, does so. And he's going to finish a couple of minutes down. And racing hard was Tano Kanga, but Sean, as they come across the line one by one, something from you to sum up that exhibition by Nairo Quintana.
Well, it was certainly a time for him to do the business here. When we see this morning more again, and he's done that, although, you know, advantages, 24 seconds on Pinot Dumoulin. He is, taking a big grip on this race, but certainly with the time trials to come, and you look at Nibali as well, 59 seconds. It's definitely not over, but he's the man, I think, that is to beat to take this Giro. Quintana, what a performance.
Davide Formolo, 2 minutes and 35 seconds. And in the meantime, here is Andrea Amador, followed by Steven Kruijswijk, who has cracked for the first time in a Giro stage in a long time. Remember, it was a crash that took him out of it last year. Dario Cataldo, local boy, getting a big cheer. 3 minutes for the man from Astana. Still no Yates, still no Thomas. Well, he's been in pink for a few days. He wondered how long he'd be able to race for the Maglia Rosa. He said once he got the Blockhaus, he'd understand how it was. Bob Jungels is going to relinquish the race lead, and it's Jan Polans, winner on Etna, putting in another brilliant ride. Well, he started the day at 1 minute and 18. He's got his stage ring. He's got the King of the Mountains jersey. And there is a bid for the top 10. And what do we say for TJ Van Garderen? Is his GC career over? Questions that will be asked throughout this month. Then Hermans helping him across the line. Here in the meantime is Geraint Thomas. Well, we expected him maybe to not quite be as good as Nairo Quintana and the pure climbers today, but how good would he have been? Sean, I guess we'll never know.
Well, no, we're not going to know. The crash, of course, it really took him out of the equation. And, when you get on your bike, when he got on, he did make a good effort. He was, coming back, but you can do that for so far. You're going to pay further up the climb. I think for Geraint Thomas, that is the problem here. He's paid the price because of the effort in the very early part of the climb.
And ditto too for Adam Yates. Adam Yates, who was Eddie Merckx's pick today to be the one to watch apart from Nibali and Quintana. Yates finishes at 4 minutes and 37 seconds. Giro d'Italia challenge as good as over. Well, Geraint Thomas going to ride in. The first pick test has been failed. He and the rest of Team Sky will say it wasn't their fault. The inquest will go on. We will see more detailed images, I'm sure, with a police motorbike in the way and several riders from a couple of teams falling. Thomas finishing at over 5 minutes back. It was all about this man. We expected it to be so, but Nairo Quintana on a super fast day, a chaotic day on Blockhaus, did not disappoint. 39.7 kilometers. He's here. He's the man on the day. And Quintana in the Abruzzese mountains is at home. TJ Van Garderen, another man who's been spat out. Have to say, probably not unexpected. Pinot on the left-hand side, and we're approaching the most difficult part of the climb. There's a brief resting period here, but then it kicks up violently in about 300 metres to 14%, Sean, the big test.
Yes, and that's where Quintana will try it again, and Quintana, that's the way he rides, a little lightweight climber, just to keep on throwing these punches here, try and put Nibali in difficulty, but Nibali has reacted very well, and he looks to be quite comfortable there. He looked around when he was on the wheel of Quintana, looked at Thibaut Pinot, and he's just, marking them. He's not riding himself at all for the moment, but it's going to be an interesting final with the three. But will they be able to hold off? We can see the others.
He can just mark everybody else. Pink jersey Bob Youngles now 52 seconds as it stands, with just less than 6 kilometres to go and approaching the hardest section of this climb as Quintana again gets out on the pedals and looks to push on. It's one of these three who are going into the Maglia Rosa. And they're all at the same time as Quintana again makes a dart forward. This time Pinot isn't the man to close it himself, and Quintana could be opening up distance now. Quintana doing his best to use the TV motorbike to get away. Nibali showing he's not panicking whatsoever so far.
No, Nibali looking good here, just continuing and concentrating and just pedaling away there. A very good cadence from Nibali. We can see in the saddle, that is a good sign. We can see Thibaut Pinot in and out of the saddle a lot, but some riders like to get out of the saddle for a little bit, others just like to sit there. We can see Nibali back to the wheel of Quintana again, and Quintana did try a big one there. He pushed in, he pushed a big acceleration there, but Nibali just coming back at his pace.
Vincenzo Nibali, his philosophy for this Giro: race at my best, then it will be the road to decide. At the minute, the road has decided that Nibali, Quintana and Pinot are the top, and we're being treated to a real show here with 5.5 kilometres to go. There's Tom Dumoulin, second chasing group at 20 seconds. Bauke Mollema's still with him. Well, some people were talking about 30 seconds. The gaps might be much bigger today. This is a hard climb. This is a beast of a climb.
Just hanging in there. We had Amador there just a moment ago. He seemed to have lost a little bit of ground.
Quintana's made another dig. Up-teeth dig already by Nairo Quintana. Oh, you wondered if he'd come into this undercooked. I don't think he has at all. That test in Asturias last week, he won a stage, didn't manage to take the overall, but my, oh my, is he looking strong on Blockhaus. Quintana in the navy. Just behind him, Nibali, the reigning champion, in the red. Thibaut Pinot also looking $1 million behind. Three riders in their prime. Bob Youngles now over a minute back in the pink jersey. He will lose the race lead of the Giro d'Italia today, the man from Luxembourg. This on your screen now is Adam Yates. No time yet back to this group. Adam Yates, who's racing at the minute with Patrick Conrad here. 10 seconds off the lead of Bob Youngles at the start of the day. And Philip Dyden's giving his all for Geraint Thomas. Well, Geraint Thomas we expected, in our heart of hearts, I think, to lose a little bit of time today. But certainly not be taken out in the way he was by the police motorbike. 2 minutes and 35, and of course, Thomas not the only one affected. A lot of these guys lost their helpers, let's not forget too. As Sean Kelly said, that crash went right across the road. Now 14 seconds. Gap closing behind.
Yes, we can see Tom Dumoulin there just setting the pace. Pozzovivo also there. Mollema.